Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Project. In this module I want to show you how you can create a template that then can be used by multiple people over and over again. So basically creating a structure of tasks, resources and any documentation that you might want to appear in the template. Now first of all, when you first get projects you probably won't have a templates folder, so I'm going to go down into options, and on the save option here you go, there's no template folder set up, so you need to do that first. So I'll go browse, let's come into my documents and I want it to be in custom office templates. That's where I want it to sit. Click OK to that and then OK again. Now I'm going to create a blank project to start off with, and just a few tasks because the process is what we're looking for here, don't need to do loads of tasks. So if I have a title of develop strategy and then just do 3 or 4, maybe 5 tasks. So we'll have core teams, design product, test product, market product, or marketing, and sell product. That's all I want to do. That's my template. These all need to be indented in because that is the title, so indent. Now core teams, let's say that's going to be 3 days, design product, let's go for 10 days, and test product 5 days, marketing 20 days, and selling, let's go for 10 days. So that gives us an overall timeline of 20 days at the moment, but we need to obviously connect these up, link these up. I'm going to insert a task there, insert, because I want a go, no go milestone, 0 durations to go there. Okay, so that is now that's got me a start milestone, which will trigger everything else. So to link this up, I need to start in the predecessors column. So a core teams, which I've spelt wrong, core teams, short for coordination, is going to link with the go no go task on a start to start link. So I'm going to put 2 SS in there, which means if this is delayed it will push the whole project forward. So there's the arrow coming out of the milestone into the first task, like so. Core teams, and then design product is just going to be a follow on, so following on task 3, and then test product has to follow design, you can't test it before you designed it, so that'll be a 4, and marketing is going to be a 5, and then these are all just going to be follow-ons, 6. So now I've got a project of 48 days. I want to see the task names on this side on the Gantt chart. So if I just come across a little bit, double click into the white area and down the bottom left hand corner where it says text, change that to name. Just need to type the letter N and it will put it in for you, and that'll give you the names on there like so. Now let's say that you've already got the design of this product laid out in a Word document or an Excel file or some other file. I want to embed that inside this task, so I'm just going to double click that in there and go into notes, and then I'm going to do a specification as a title, and then just embed and link a document from this option here, insert object, from file, because I've already created it. So this stops you having to write loads and loads of tasks that then have to be admined, updated, tracked. So if I've already got a process set out in an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, try and find an Excel spreadsheet. I haven't got any. That one will do, TNA analysis. So that's nothing to do with this, it's just obviously one I'm just picking at random, so I'll insert that. I want it linked and I want it displayed as an icon, so if I decide to insert another file, I just have the icons, the shortcuts to them, as opposed to the whole file being open in this box. So that's okay. That should pop in shortly, and then I can click OK. Thinking about it, there she blows. Click OK to that, and then when you point to your information column, you just get the apostrophe symbol there. That's why I needed to put the word specification in there to sort of qualify what that is. So I've embedded that, and again the testing process could be the same. Let's just do it again. So I'll pick a testing process. Again, you just avoiding typing out loads of extra tasks by doing this. Method statements, people have usually got method statements. Browse, so this could be just a method statement or something. I'll do that one. Link and display. The point of linking it is if the method statement changes, which they usually don't unless under a review, they might change, but if they do change, you'll always have a link to the original or most up-to-date document. Click OK to that one. If it's just a scanned document of a contract or something like that, you don't need to do the links, but I do recommend that you do the icon as opposed to having the whole thing opened up in here. Click OK to that. So we've done that, we've got all that sorted out, we've done the links. Now on this Gantt chart it looks as though these tasks are going over the weekend. If I just double click on this shaded area and just change that colour to so it's a bit stands out a bit more, you can see that that looks like you're working over the weekends, which you are not. So what you need to do is just double click back in there and then tick this option in front of taskbars, and then when you click OK you can see that's clearly not working over the weekend, and that is the non-working time there, which I quite like. It's totally up to you. If you don't want to do that, feel free to leave it as it is. Now resources, let's go to the resource sheet. You've got two options here. I think you can either use people's names like Bob, Bill, Anne, and that gives you the full functionality of Microsoft Projects resource tools, in that you can have their own calendar, you can put their leave in, their working hours and all their little idiosyncrasies in the resource sheet. If you use the second option, which is appointment based, obviously you might have 10 engineers or 10 trainers and the calendar would be just generic. You wouldn't actually be able to put in individuals' time off. So it's up to you which way you want to do it. For this template though, I'm going to do the generic option. So I'm going trainers, and I want, there's one trainer there, but let's say there's 3 trainers. I want engineers, and there'll be 5 engineers, so there's 500. And designers, let's say there's 3 designers, 300. And manager or managers, let's say there's 2 managers for this project. So this gives you some scope. I'm not putting any material in there, but you could. Now you've got groups there. The group is not really relevant if you're going to do it like this, but that would work if you want to use this column. If you'd got Bob, Bill and Anne who were trainers, then they would be in the trainers group. John, Dave and Carol are engineers, they would be in the engineers group, and that's where this would come in useful, because when you do your reports you can actually fill that in and then run reports filtered on group. But that'll do for now. Let's go back to the Gantt chart and resource, assign resources. So let's assign resources to this. So let's say we've got quad teams, so that's going to be the manager, one manager. Assign design product, that's going to be the designers. Assign, let's say we want 2 designers. So you see there's no cost coming there because I forgot to put the cost on. Let's go back to the sheet and get some rates in there. £10, 15 overtime for everybody, which is really low nowadays, but doesn't matter. The managers can be on 15 and 20 if they do overtime. They don't normally get overtime as a manager. Back to the Gantt chart, back onto Coord Teams. Now we get that cost coming in, and design product, we're getting the cost there for this duration of that task. Testing, let's say the engineers test this, so we'll have 2 engineers, so I assign 2 engineers like so. Marketing, let's say the trainers do the marketing. Let's say there's 3 trainers to do the marketing. Now what I'm looking for, or trying to avoid, is any red men appearing here. Now I've also noticed that this has changed the duration. Now I'm just going to go back into there. Bear with me. I'm just going to get rid of these trainers. Remove. Now I didn't notice when that actually changed the duration, so that was 5 days, I think. Let's put it back to 5 days and then assign the trainers again. Just watch this. Okay, so what's happening there? It's using the effort driven, which is not supposed to be doing that. So if I double click into there, go into advanced, it's not ticked, so that's really strange why it's doing that. It's defaulting to that. And cancel that. I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to put that back to 5 days. And that's correct. So yeah, that shouldn't normally do that. If you double click into these tasks, the default setting is not to be effort driven. What effort driven means is if you add extra resources, it drives down the duration. So that shouldn't have had an effect on that with it being fixed unit and not effort driven, but for some reason it did. So just watch out when you're doing this that doesn't happen to you. And yeah, that'll do for now. We've got sell product. Let's say the manager is going to sell the product, and let's put 2 managers on. And again, that's doing effort driven. It's the way I'm doing these units, because as soon as I do that, it's doing effort driven. It should not do that. That is a mistake. I don't want it to do that, so I'll put that back to 10. And let's have a look at this. So we've got 200%, we've got no red men. Now I've noticed in some templates that come, let's get rid of that, with Microsoft Project, so you've got loads of templates. If I just go File, New, these are different template options, Software Development Plan. If I just open this, Create, this might not be one that does it, but some of these templates that's in that list have red men all the way down this information column, which indicates that people are over allocated, and that isn't one of them. Sod's law. It doesn't matter. What you don't want in a template is allocating resources that are already over allocated. So none of these are over allocated. Everything is within the scope of the resource sheet that we've set up. So if I go back to that one, everything's clear. We've got all this set up. And if you want to do any customisations, like in terms of columns, if I just go into custom fields, let's just say we want to just rename this as manager responsible. So it's not a resource, but somebody maybe you need to ring up if there's a problem. You can have a little drop down list in there. If I do a lookup list, let's go for Mrs. White, Mr. Black, spell it right, Mr. Black, Mrs. Green, and so on, things like that. And you can put in this column their extension number if you want. If you put it in that column, it's more visible, but I'll show you how this sits in a minute. 1, 2, 3. I'll do it on Mr. Green actually, so you can see the difference. Close that. So this is still text 1. I need to OK that, and then I need to insert text 1. So insert column, type T for text 1, there it is, and then you have a drop down. So there's the difference. But that one, that was all in one column. So if I click that one, you can see the extension. So coordinating teams, let's say that person was Mr. Black, and now you don't see the extension. It's there in the second column but not in the first column, so perhaps that's the better option if you're going to do it just like this. But this is the template we're creating, so we don't want too much detail putting in here. The reports, you might want to do a report that's already set up. Now I haven't got any reports in this file. I'm not going to create a report, but basically these are all the default ones. You can create your own reports. If you think that that needs to be done in a template, you can do that. And the actual project tab is where you can change the calendar for the project. So if I'm going to change working time, this is where, for example, exceptions, you might want to set up holidays like Easter or Christmas, or if there's a factory shutdown, you put them in there. Work weeks is, if I go into details, if say you don't work on Friday afternoon, you can click into here and change it so you don't work Friday afternoon. Now, if I delete that there, obviously this timeline is going to expand because some of these are set on to work on Fridays, and that's going to knock them across. So just be careful if you do that, and that way it affects this overall timeline. So I'm not going to change it, but that's how you do it. So this is the project calendar. Click OK to that. Everything's set. We don't need to save a baseline, but that's the first thing that people should do when they open this template, is set the baseline so it's ready to go. And the second thing, no, not the first thing, that's the second thing. The first thing is to set the time, the start date, because obviously when I save this, it's going to be this start date. When you open it as a template, you want to change the start date. Now in options, you can get this box to come up, to open up, so that would maybe be a good thing to do for the template, to get it to open up, so it prompts people straight away that they need to put a start date in, or a finish date. If you change that to finish date, if you're working backwards from a finish date, that's the option you would do, but I'm working forward, so I'm leaving it like that. So cancel that off, I don't want to save that. Now what I do want to do though is save this whole thing as a template. So if I go File, Save, because I've not saved it at all, it'll give me the option of saving it as a project template. There it goes, and I'll call it Steve Plan. Put an S on that. I know it's not, can't do apostrophe, but I'll do Steve's Plan. Save. Okay, so you're about to save a file as a template. You can choose to remove the following items. So value all baselines, actual values, resource rates, all this sort of stuff. I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to leave all that as it is. Save. Now if I close this file, Control W to close that window, and back to this, on File New, what I've now got is a tab there which wasn't there before, Personal, which now I can now see my template. Just open it, and then it's ready to rock and roll, ready to go. Now something I forgot to mention, I've already set the default settings for my version of project to always be on the auto scheduled option. So I did that. If I go into File, Options and Schedule, down here, all new projects are auto scheduled. And also on here I've got this line, you can see this line at the top, that's called the entry bar, that's where you get that. And this line down the left hand side is the view bar. If I right click on there, view bar, normally it's like that, I don't like it like that, so I put it on, and that's totally up to you, personal choices. But the template is there. It no longer says Steve Plan, it says Project 2, because it is, as all templates are, this is a copy of the original. But you are ready to go, and your team, if you're doing this for a team, have got a starting point, and then they can move forward from this. This is a set list of events that always happen in your projects. So hopefully that was of use for you. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.